Thank you all so much, and hello everyone. Welcome again to the SOLV Initiative at the College of Arts and Sciences at St. Thomas. I am really just honored to be sharing the stage with these three remarkable leaders. I've been looking forward to this event for a long time, so I'm really glad that you all are here to share it with us. I've been following this story for a few months now, and so I know that you all are in for a very thoughtful and engaging and interesting discussion. I would like to introduce our three panelists first. This is Mayor Jenny Halverson on the end. Mayor Halverson was the first woman elected mayor of West St. Paul after serving on the city council since 2013. And she was elected mayor in 2016 and served through 2018. So we're delighted to have her with us today. Yeah, please. Councilmember Wendy Berry. Councilmember Berry was elected in November of 2018 to represent Ward 3 of West St. Paul. And I think it's worth noting that in her first election, she received 59% of the vote after having lived in that community for 3 years, which we would say in the discipline of political science is remarkable. So nicely done. So please, again, thanks. And our third panelist is Ms. Katie Doman. Katie co-founded Women of West St. Paul after the April 2018 City Council meeting to create a space where women of all ages could meet together and create change in their community. And that organization is still going strong. I know there's members of that organization here with us tonight, and you'll learn more about that organization tonight too. So thanks to all of you for being here. Our focus tonight is on the intersections of gender and politics as played out in our neighboring city of West St. Paul over the past few years. And I know we need to provide a bit of background for those of you who are unfamiliar with what's been going on with city politics in West St. Paul. So we're going to do that and sort of set the stage with two brief clips. So we're going to have one clip that we're going to start with, which is a news story from Fox 9 from last May. So we'll start with that one.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. And these days, it seems there's just no such thing as politics as usual. And just when you thought you'd heard it all, another strange story comes to light.
This time, allegations of harassment and sexism in West St. Paul, where that city's mayor says she has become a target. Fox 9's Leah Bino joining us with details on this. So, Leah, where is all of this going?
Well, yesterday there was a special city council meeting called to further discuss the situation that sparked all of this, but council didn't have a quorum. Also, the applicant at the center of it all withdrew her application, and meanwhile, the community discussion is just getting started.
There was a small political brush fire that basically turned into the city burning down.
That so-called brush fire erupted at the April 23rd West St. Paul City Council meeting.
This will not be forgotten, folks.
Good old boys.
I'm sorry, that is an inappropriate comment, Madam Mayor.
No, it is not.
Yours was inappropriate.
Moments prior, the council approved 2 planning commission appointments by Mayor Jenny Halverson, but denied her third choice. All happened to be women.
I appreciate the mayor's desire to have more women involved in city government. I don't think that should be the determining factor.
When there was someone else in this chair, we were lobbying for his ability and privilege to appoint, and that should be his prerogative. But now that it's me here, that's not the position.
I want to make it very clear, I'm qualified for this position.
Samantha Green believes the vote was personal based on her criticism of the council in the past. The next day, Green found a box of tissues placed outside her home, and the mayor found a box of feminine pads. Both also reported to police someone banging on their doors at various times of day and night.
Thanks, Betty. So I think this is a really big question, right? And it has a global answer, and then I can probably kind of bring it down to a local level with some examples. Mm-hmm. I think in 2 words, right, representation matters. I mean, it's really that simple, and it's really not something that I think we need to explain or debate anymore. Mm-hmm. It matters. I think that it's important. We're part of a representative democracy, right? And so our government should represent what we look like in our communities.
Just kind of piggybacking on what Jenny said, it is important to be able to see people that you feel comfortable seeing in a place that's leading you or representing you. You know, the female part is huge. I mean, if you look at the demographics of a city, it's not 1 out of every 6 people is a woman. I mean, probably 50-50. So that's important. You know, parents are important. People that have families are important. You know, working people are important. And in reference to having the people that were at that table look out into the audience that were there, one, there were probably more people than have ever been in that city hall. So I just wanted to make sure they were aware of that. And also, there weren't many retired attorneys or retired business owners, and there's nothing wrong with that, except when that's all we have. And it was important to me as a person, as part of the LGBTQ community, to be representative of that, but also for my kids who have 2 moms to be able to look at a city council and be like, oh, my moms can do that too. And just representing people as a whole, and not just being a self-serving piece. Was important to me too in representing the people of West St. Paul, because I don't know if that was always been the case, particularly the last 2 to 4 years.
When I think back to like the first time we all met, it was very, we didn't know what to expect. There were probably 3 or 4 of us who had gotten wind of what was going on up at City Hall, and we were kind of like, maybe we should do something about, like, we were really mad about what had been going on, and felt bad that we were so unaware. Just talking about, you know, the relationship between your local government and the federal government, we were in a very particularly tough, tense time period where we were feeling a lot of inability and powerlessness to affect change on the national level. And I think suddenly we had a room full of 40 women who were already mad and then you can draw direct relationships to the things that were happening on the city level with what was happening nationally. Like the headlines in the news, you could have just like covered up names and it would have felt like it fit the city. And so it was like, finally, this is something where like we can show up and we can have our voices be heard.
I really love the example of the ground rules for the meeting for a number of reasons. One, I really like your point, Mayor Halverson, about when you're in the room and at the table, you can create the rules in a way that is going to be a civil discourse and be an effective discourse, right? I think that's the key, is that civil discourse can be a very effective way of making your point, particularly when, in your case, you all were challenging the status quo, which by definition can be seen as disruptive, right? And can be by definition seen as uncivil when you're just there making a very calm point, right? So you have a very delicate balancing act. So I'm always impressed when I watch everyone at that podium because the level of preparation was clear and the level of coordination in terms of arguments and not everybody saying the same thing, and things that are difficult to do if you don't put in the time to plan. So it's a very impressive example.
I think we.
Okay, so I have to ask, because again, I teach women in politics, what advice would you give someone who, or perhaps let's just cut to the chase, what advice would you give a woman who wants to be the mayor of her city or run for city council or start a social movement?
Do it. Just get out there and do it. And I'll go back to when I got that phone call from Dick Vitale. I was a mom with 3 kids in the backyard, and my youngest was still little enough to be on my hip. And I had never been to a meeting. I didn't know who was on the city council. I had no idea. I didn't know exactly what they did. Did they get paid? I don't know. I mean, I really had no idea. And I had a couple days to decide if I wanted to run or not. And I don't know, I guess. And so I did it. And I literally put my kids in a wagon, in a radio flyer wagon, and we printed out flyers on my printer at home and cut them up and knocked on people's doors. You know, I didn't know what I was doing, but I just spoke about, I had lived there all my life. So I mean, I had the background, I guess, in that. But I just knocked on people's doors and told them what I wanted and what I thought needed to change. And it was pretty successful. I mean, the first time around went pretty well. But I mean, just get out. I mean, if you really if you really want it and you can see the change that you want, just get out there and do it. There are no qualifications, there are no boxes to check. Just go put in your filing fee and your application and go for it.
Yeah, I mean, do it would be my advice. A year and a half ago, it was not on my bucket list to be on city council in West St. Paul. But I did it, and I'm so glad that I did. It's an amazing experience, and you can do it. I mean, I lived there for 3 years, and I didn't know a ton of people, but when you have a story of why you want to run and you can talk to people about something important in their community, they're going to get on board with you. And it's exciting to see that, exciting to see engagement when you knock on a stranger's door, or maybe they've heard about you from their neighbor and they're so excited you're there. And it's a great opportunity. And even if you're not sure about it, talk to people that have done it. I mean, it's really hard. I'm not going to lie. It's really hard to do, but the end result is absolutely worth it. And, when talking to Jenny and John, it was like, if I don't win, I will at least be proud that I tried and that I showed people that if you believe in something, it's cool to fight for it. And it's worth it. I mean, it's like $20 to file in West St. Paul. So it's definitely worth doing it.
I would say also, yes, you just have to jump in. There is no handbook. I thought about writing one. But not because I am some great pool of knowledge, but rather because you just need somewhere to start, and you need some people that believe in it, and that are willing to put the work in with you. And I think that, again, was another reason why we were able to be successful, is that we started out with a kind of a core group of women, and they were ready to go. Whatever the task was, okay, I'll do that. Okay, I can take that one. Okay, I'll do this. And we all made a lot of sacrifices of our time, time away from our families. It was worthwhile and purposeful, maybe one of the most purposeful things I have done in my life. But you have to be prepared to do the work. I think that's like the biggest thing, is that it can't be something that you're like, I'll deal with that tomorrow. It's like, no, tonight we're gonna sit down, we're gonna hammer out a mission statement, we're gonna have, everybody sign off on that. We've gotta have plans for this, who's gonna be doing some door knocking, who's, coming to city council next week. We had people who kind of like project managed a lot of things. And so I would say absolutely do it. Find your people that want to do it with you. The people who want to do it with you might really surprise you. They might be people that you wouldn't necessarily have come together socially for any reason, but some of these people have ended up being some of my closest friends. And make sure you're using everybody's talents. I think that's the other thing, is like, again, you're doing something in service of something. It's not for you. And so keeping your eye on the goal and making sure that everything you're doing is in service of that goal. Those are the types of things that will kind of keep that movement rolling, because everybody will feel like they have some buy-in, and we have